Alright, welcome back everyone, Zaf here. Now, the topic of today's video is shadows. I know we've seen a lot of questions about them. Which shadow should I use? Is Cerberus the new best shadow? Let me confirm all of that, because I know we have a lot of shadows coming out soon, and we already have a lot of current shadows to work with. So which ones are the best, and which ones should you use on your team, and which shadow authorities are the most important? So let's cover all of that. But first, really quick, a big congrats to Dragonic for being the first commenter on our last video. Here is your shoutout and enjoy your very exclusive Discord role. Now, hopping back into the game, there are two things you really want to consider. The first thing that is most important about shadows is the Shadows Authority that applies to Jinwoo and your hunters. It is one of the best bonuses we can get. It's on par with some artifacts, the set bonus that is, so you want to make sure you're using the right one. Now, as you can see, we have lots to choose from. We have Igris providing critical hit rate. We have someone like Blades providing attack. We also have someone like Tusk providing core attack damage, which is very nice on hunters like Alicia, super OP and super needed. Tusk and Alicia are basically made for each other, giggity. And then we do have some lesser used shadows. We do have this bad boy right here, Tank. He is an absolute unit, but we just don't have enough defense scaling units to make them useful. So they do kind of play a backseat in our shadow lineup. And then we also have Iron, although they provide a lot of HP. Again, HP isn't necessarily a priority, so they don't see too much use for their authority, but Iron is actually one of our best shadows, and I will clarify that in just a moment. We also have a new shadow here, Serbi, the worst shadow in this game for their Shadows Authority, but for their passive, they're actually one of the best shadows, if not best, for this basic skill right here. Now, the reason why this is so good is because if you look at the effect here, Combustion deals damage equal to 50% of the user's attack every 3 seconds, but that's not the kicker. The real kicker is increases damage taken by 5%, and duration is infinite. So the moment Cerberus uses this skill, you'll be dealing 5% more damage on the target, or at least the damage they take, which is honestly very, very good. So we have Serbi, who has one of the worst Shadows Authorities. 4% critical damage is nothing. It's garbage, absolute garbanzo. As you can see, at the Elite Knight level, it provides a 7% crit damage bonus. That's so bad. Oh my goodness, this is awful. Would you rather have this absolutely minuscule damage bonus to your crit, or would you rather use Igris and get that raw crit rate bonus? This is the one you want to go for. This right here helps you deal the crit damage. So a 7% chance to deal crit damage versus a 7% crit damage bonus is just so bad, because look here. If we go to Jinwoo, we look at his stats, as you can see, normally you'll have the 50% cap depending on what artifacts you use, and your crit damage is 190%, for example, in my case, meaning 7% here is useless, but 7% on top of this is very, very nice. And remember, the 7% does not apply to the cap. Since it's a bonus passive, it doesn't get incorporated here, meaning you can go past the 50% cap, which is very, very nice. Now, if we go back to our shadows, there's one other shadow I do want to mention, Iron. Iron has a very nice ability as well. As you can see, a 12% defense decrease. I know 12% isn't too much when we have Shadow Step, which does decrease the enemy's defense by I think 60% or so. Yep, that should be right. So 12% is actually not too bad still. It lets you deal that much more damage. Because for other shadows, we have, let's say, Blades. Do they have an ability? They do not. So no ability. They just deal raw damage, which is fine, but those abilities do help. We have Igris right here, a 100% attack increase, but please remember, I think a lot of people are mistaken. This does not apply to Jinwoo. This does not apply to hunters. I believe this bonus here only applies to Igris and Igris alone, not to other shadows. But if we look at Tusk right here, it does apply to all our shadows. It says right here, using a skill applies the attack increase effect to all shadows, 20%. So Igris provides that buff to himself. Meanwhile, Tusk provides the buff to the team. So pretty decent, not too bad. Well, that's why I use Serbi and Iron. They provide a global buff to everyone, your shadows, Jinwoo, and your hunters. And we have tank as well. What does he do? Stun. So he stuns the target for 1 second. Not the most useful, honestly, but for BOT it can be useful. So it does have its uses, but right now, not too useful. So if I had to pick a lineup, there are only 3 shadows you should be using for their authority. Igris, Igris being one of the best shadows, works with any, yes any hunter loadout, because crit can work on any hunter of course. And Tusk, Tusk is only good for Alicia, Yusou Hyun as well, and I believe that's it, but hold on. You can use Tusk on Jinwoo for weapons that do deal a lot of core damage, like the Phoenix Soul, so Tusk can be good in that regard as well. And then we have Blades. Obviously with Blades, if you need an attack bonus, they are very good. At a late night, they provide 6%, but the argument is there, should you use Blades, should you use Igris, they're both pretty good. It's hard to say which one's exactly better, because if you get the crit, the RNG, more damage, but with Blades of course, removing that RNG factor, you're dealing more damage because of the attack. So again, up to you, but these are the 3 shadows you use for the authority. These 3 shadows are only used for their support skills. The ideal lineup for me, in most cases, would be Igris with Serbi, and then using Iron as well. So 7% crit, 5% global damage buff, and a 12% defense reduction when it's applied. Very, very nice if you ask me. That's a well-rounded team, but again, that doesn't mean you should only use Igris. I just like Igris because he applies to everyone. Blades, of course, works with so many teams. In fact, Blade is one of the best shadows because that attack bonus is key. Key to dealing the right amount of damage, where you already have enough crit, and you just need that raw attack bonus, so that's the way to go. And again, with Tusk, core attack, so Alicia, Yusou Hyun, and Jinwoo with that Phoenix Soul, very, very OP. That's the way to go. And I do want to make a disclaimer, you do have to remember that these passive abilities, they cap out at common, so they don't increase if you, let's say, upgrade all the way to Elite Knight. As you can see, all they gain is just the obtained skill, and also the Shadow's authority bonus. And I believe the army total power also goes up as well, but someone can correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't upgraded a shadow in a minute, I'll be honest. I'm kind of saving mine right now. We're at 458 because we do have 2 shadows coming out, Kaisel and whoever this freak is. So I do want to wait. Patience in this game is key, and also just one more disclaimer, I know it's off topic, but do not do your custom draws, at least not yet. If you can, just wait 16 more days for the new banners to come out and the new weapon to come out as well. We will have that new light SSR, I believe I'm correct, and that new light SSR, I'm telling you right now, based on what we saw of Phoenix Soul, it'll be very, very OP, so you don't want to summon right now. Patience is key here, but if you have to, go ahead. You shouldn't just save blindly. If you have a lot of summons to get new hunters that you need, go ahead and summon, but I just want to remind you that the new weapons are coming out, and generally speaking, they're going to be very OP based on the trends we've seen. So right now, if you were forced to upgrade any shadows, I would go with Igris, Tusk, and also Blades, and then just unlock these 2. You don't have to unlock Tank, though it is good for the army level and the total power, up to you of course. But right now I think these are enough until Tusk becomes maybe viable someday. But again, these are enough because we need so many traces, we're just running out, so you do have to use them sparingly. You can honestly skip Blades if you want, just go for the crit. But if you're doing, let's say, BOT, and you already are very lucky with the RNG on your crits, Blades will let you deal more damage, whereas with the crits, you don't really need them, so, up to you. There's a lot of things to consider here, but again, Serbi, Iron for the passive, and then Igris and Tusk and Blades for their Shadow's authority. But yeah, I think that should be it for today's video. Just wanted to cover shadows. Again, new shadows coming out. We don't know what they're going to do, but once we find out, of course, I will have a video out, so don't worry about that. And yeah, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed, drop a like and comment down below what you think. I'm very curious, I read all the comments. And do subscribe if you want more content like this. This was Zaf signing out.